And I think we're off now. It's 9 a.m. Yeah, it's we are live from LA, Los Angeles. It's Thursday, June 19th, AD 2025. And happy Juneteenth. Kiss ups. But we live in a kiss up culture, and like Maze, I will be in denial about my irritation at the kiss up culture. I will be like, I'm not mad, you're mad. But anyway, I disavow everything that's said here on the Hake Report, or at least I disclaim it. I'm not responsible for anything I say. I mean, I try to be, but I'm not. You know, I don't represent myself, and nor do my callers, who are. If some of you guys are lining up on the show already, getting on the line. And so everything you hear here does not and is not meant to represent Bond. I represent me, you represent you, and oftentimes we misrepresent even ourselves. I look back at some of the stuff that I say and did, because sometimes, you know, you can see stuff that you did on or wrote on the internet years later, and you're like, what was I thinking? So don't hold stuff against people. You know what I mean, Jellybean? Thank you, Pastor Shadowley, a monthly supporter. Jesse Lee rated the stream. So no endorsement nor condemnation implied. You can't say that, Joel? Or busy. Maybe he means busy. Beta disclaimer. Be a man, man. Alpha disclaimer. You represent you, I represent me. Mark represents Mark. And the rest. So, I thought it would be funny to wear my Gatekeeper shirt today. Shout out to the person who gave it to me. I wonder if this person was trolling me, or if it was sincere admiration / appreciation. I don't know. I do not know. Either way, many thanks. Muchas gracias. 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 I wasn't able to get to a lot of you guys yesterday because, you know, I got carried away with some of the callers, and, you know, it just happens like that. But shout out to Third Rail with Omar. Appreciate him coming on yesterday. I am getting going here over on the Hake Report. And I do scoff at Juneteenth, but don't take it personally, blacks. It's not, I mean, it's just whatever. Blacks. You know that's kiss up culture to have not one, but two fake holidays for things that shouldn't even be hardly mentioned. MLK? Certainly not as honorable as he's portrayed. And Juneteenth. I'm glad that the Civil War eventually did end, but, you know, whatever. We're getting going over here on the Hake Report. Yesterday, it took me 10 minutes to get until I got into the actual conversation with Omar. Can you believe it? I did not like that fact. So let me see if I can do better. Be better. Looking out over beautiful San Onofre, California. People are actually taking the day off. Can you believe it? Any excuse to take the day off. Whatever. And you guys are welcome to call in. There is one line open. The lines are filling up. And we're going to let's have a fun, loosey-goosey, the Hake Report show. Israel's at war, seemingly, with Iran. And will Trump get us further involved Will he be wrong for it? Whatever. I'm chuckling because Eli was judging. He has a judgment against Trump. KT, too. Clearly, just quick to judge and dismiss, but shout out. Oh, look at the cat. Is that a three-legged cat? Maybe not. Anyway, guys. Let's just get right on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey guys! So, how you guys doing? I am fine. And yes, I have my Gatekeeper shirt on. And it's the Women's Forum tonight. Another reason to have the Gatekeeper on. Nice. Right on. So, ladies, make sure you do it. Catch the, this is just some, it's a law enforcement t-shirt. LE. Relentless Defender. What do you think of Hake's arms? Don't answer that. Awesome. Relentless, LE, law enforcement. Relentless Defender. And black is slimming, by the way. But yeah, ladies, Women's Forum. Third Thursday of the month, 7 p.m. at Bond in Los Angeles. You know, Anchor Baby claimed that that he was cold. Well, I'm hot in here now. Let me just move this. Okay, I'm back. Whew. So let me get to some of you guys were on hold yesterday, so I want to try to plow through a few calls and get to some stories and things. First off, Jaime in Minnesota is on the line over here. Jaime, thank you for calling. What is up?
Hey, how's it going, Hank?
Going well. How are you?
Hey, pretty good. Hey, I just wanted to let you guys know that that area, Israel and Iran, they were controlled. They had a lot of control from the British Empire.
Yeah.
So all those pictures of Iran being sweet and awesome, it was controlled by Britain.
So, but Britain both helped it and then kind of messed it up, I hear. And well, America too, right?
After 1979, they threw out the Westerners and they wanted to do their own thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. But it seemed like those people were dressed up and they liked doing their thing. Because those were Persian-looking people or, you know, Iranian citizens who seemed fine in the Western clothes, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know, once
I guess might makes right. The more pushy more pushy people get the worldly power. So yeah, I guess you're right. What'd you just do, Jaime?
So with that, once the powers that be that was controlling everything, making everything nice, left, then the wolves came. You know.
Yeah, fair and interesting point, I think.
And so all this stuff about Iran being our buddies and not being as evil as, you know, Israel, that's not true, because Israel kept the Westerners in.
Oh,
that's our foothold. The Persians, they were too weak. They let the mean evil guys take control.
Whereas we prefer nice evil guys to mean evil guys.
Right. So
Yeah.
with Third
sir.
Rail with Ilhan Omar, he's so wrong.
Not Ilhan Omar. Omar.
Oh, okay.
Omar.
Well, he's
I know his last name
absolutely
too.
wrong.
He's mentioned it. So he's wrong, huh? But
Yeah, and it's
he's
not just that
pro-West
he's
though. He's sort of pro-West. He became a New Yorker. He loves America, sort of. I think he likes white. He thinks that white people should continue to be the majority in America. But
when I've heard him talk.
I think people talk out of both sides of their mouth and contradict themselves and don't realize it though.
Yes, yeah, and it might be ignorance, or it might be malice. It could be both.
Yeah, when you're angry and bitter, it keeps you ignorant and blind.
I did hear Bibi Netanyahu give that speech when he was saying that he was going to attack Iran. And man, that gave me chills. I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Positive chills or negative chills, or neither?
Just chills.
Okay.
I didn't think either, but he's got that strong masculine voice and that kind of like scowl, even though he's trying to be nice.
That's right,
and that's just manly.
Indeed, I'm with you, man. I know that people really hate that, when we say that, but I think it's kind of undeniable.
Right.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with Iran, which Omar had said that they were nice people, he completely shot over that they're the biggest contributors to terrorism. Everybody knows
and he
that.
doesn't like that. He doesn't like that about them.
All politicians say that, both sides.
Yeah, and I didn't know whether to believe it. I read it in the media. I'm like, okay, is it true that they... Pardon me. Is it true
doesn't
that
matter who started it?
Yeah, it doesn't matter
who allegedly started this or that.
Yeah.
What matters is here in 2025, these people are giving them the money now.
Right. That's true.
And
that's true. It doesn't matter if Israel started Hamas or funded Hamas or ISIS or whatever. We're dealing with the problem now, and right now Iran is supporting them. I hear, according to them.
And this thing with Omar had also said they were trying to make a deal with, and they didn't give him enough time. Trump said, I heard him say it. We gave him 60 days. On the 61st day, it was off.
That's what I had heard. I didn't mention that yesterday, and I didn't know for sure. But yeah, I think you're right about that. And is it true
Trump had even said?
Is it true that Israel did? Because Omar made a bunch of claims, and I don't think of him as trying to deceive us at all, purposely anyway. But is it true that Israel killed the negotiators, the Persian or Iranian negotiators?
I have no idea. I only heard about generals and stuff.
They may have. Whatever. Not
but,
whatever, but yeah, whatever.
Trump had even said that he got the feeling that these guys were stringing him along.
That's
they
kind of
weren't even going to make the deal.
He accused Putin of doing the same thing, and it may be true.
Yeah. And so, whether out of malice or ignorance, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
The person who needs to be making the decisions is there. And you got to trust that guy, Trump.
He's the man for the job. Name a better politician to handle this situation than Trump. Nobody.
Trump is the self-proclaimed, and also many people proclaim that he is the best deal maker on the planet.
Nice.
And this Omar guy, he's calling him inept and not smart.
Yeah.
The guy got elected president twice.
Yeah.
So am I going to take Omar's word for it or the Trump command?
Yeah. Right on, man. I'm right there with you.
Well, with the flat earth, if I may, if you go to a tower, a 100-foot tower, you can see a sunset twice. So
you see it, you see the sun go down, and then you shoot up a tower, you climb it really, really fast, and you can see it set again?
Elevator, yeah.
And
you go up an elevator, you'll see it again.
Yeah.
And that can only happen on a curved earth.
That's true.
Because if the sun's actually going away, it doesn't matter how high you're going to go, it's still going away.
Yeah. And if the sun went away, it wouldn't dip below the horizon.
Right, and so you can go up on
Shout out.
in Washington State, the needle,
The
the
Space
tower.
Needle, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you can do that.
Seattle.
But it's also this: the Earth is flat if you do not observe it, but if you start observing it, it's spherical.
Nice. I'm with you,
Like
man. And it's
like
spinning. If you observe it, it is spinning.
and so don't observe it, and it's flat. It's like Schrodinger's cat.
Man, you
The
are
cat
so
lies
right.
in the Mars is wet.
You are on it today, Jaime.
No problem. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Take care. Nice. And Daniel in Tejas, Texas is on the line over here. Daniel, how you doing, man?
I'm well, James. Thank you for having me.
It's great hearing from you.
I had a question about Omar. He had a couple of things that he said, and it was kind of glossed over because you were tackling multiple topics.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I wanted to ask you about these two things. So the first thing is he said an Arabic expression is to threaten a man with death, he will accept a fever.
Yeah.
Okay, what is that? Is that just like lesser of two evils
Yes.
sort of thing?
Yeah, that's how I took it. Because, say, I don't know, I forget what the context was, but say, hey, Daniel, you're going to die. And you're like, no. Oh, wait, actually, you're going to have a fever. Oh, thank you. So you'll be like grateful to have just the fever, even though nobody wants a fever. Much less do they want to die. Much less. Most of the time. Yeah. I think that's what that meant.
Okay. I'm probably thinking too much about it. I was trying to, because when I first heard him, I said, I thought he said fever.
Right.
But then I was like, well, did he say fever or favor?
Oh. No, I'm quite sure he meant fever. And I forget what this was about, but it was something like, oh, you Palestinians
diplomacy.
may as well give up. Or what? Iran what?
I think it was about the Iranian diplomacy.
Okay.
It had something to do with, because he's saying that Iran didn't do anything to provoke this, and it's in a state of kind of this back foot with Israel. That's kind of his position.
Yeah.
Iran's in this back foot with Israel, so Iran has accepted this fever.
I think what what people are going to have to accept is a deal that nobody's happy with, rather than a deal that everybody's happy with.
Yeah.
Because there is no such deal. There's only a deal that nobody's really happy with, I think.
The other thing that he said, because I think we beat that one to death.
Nice.
The other thing he said was, and he said this as KT from DC was talking, because they were kind of in agreement with each other.
Right.
And you were taking the issue. And Omar said something that was overshadowed by the conversation between you and KT.
Okay.
He said, and he kind of mumbles it, so I can't even phrase this correctly because I'm not even sure if this is what he said, but that in reference to JLP not addressing, or your network not addressing what they perceive to be certain things about Israel, and Omar said he is afraid of the Israel lobby, is kind of what I took away from what he had said under his breath.
Omar said that said something to the effect that he's afraid of the Israel lobby?
I think in reference to the JLP, or the Bond network.
That we're afraid of the Israel lobby.
You're afraid of the Israel lobby.
Oh, that's funny.
The
Israel lobby is not even really in my mind. Okay, but go ahead. Sorry, I just shouldn't even necessarily react to it.
So, are you afraid of the Israel lobby?
I think actually, probably, yeah. Because if you want to lump that all, if by Israel lobby you mean the cultural prevalence of overreacting to anything that criticizes Jews as, censorship of this and that and this and that and this and that, and everybody gets censored when they're talking too freely, too much free speech or whatever.
Right.
About that. There is a definite fear there. It's like you could call it a practical fear or even an impractical fear. You know me, I'm disavowing all the time.
Right.
So that is true, but doesn't explain my positions, actually. Because even though I don't say, there's a lot of stuff I don't say.
Uh-huh.
Like I don't say the N-word anymore because of that lobby, basically. And that cultural dominance of that. But I also don't say the N-word because of decency and respect. There's no reason to. Like, who cares? And like similarly, I don't clearly see that Bibi is necessarily wrong, nor do I claim that he's right in hitting Iran, nor do I see or think that Trump is at all weak or a total kiss up or owned or whatever. So my positions are, I'm able to be pretty transparent with how I think without being nasty or getting myself censored.
Right. And
yeah.
I guess I just want to say, I appreciate the position that what's going on in Israel, the nation of Israel is a nation. It's there.
Yeah.
And to say, pack up your things and go somewhere else, it's just not, like you said, it's not rational.
Yeah. Like how many Israelis, even the liberal Jews who are anti-Zionists, that's not even their position. Like literally nobody is. You're not going to get anybody to do that except for randos.
Yeah.
It's kind of like telling the blacks to go back to Africa. Some will, yeah.
Exactly like that.
Yeah, some will, but no, they're here and they're going to stay. They're going to gripe about it, but they're going to stay.
Right. And, well, now that you had thrown that out there, the blacks in the United States.
Yeah.
The New World. The reality, and I know this isn't a very popular thing amongst, I guess the white nationalists.
Yeah.
Thing. The reality is there's no separating the introduction of blacks to the New World from the Europeans to the New World. They came together, and they may have came in a different form, but they're still here. And that is evident in the earliest explorers. The earliest explorers brought their Negro, I can't say the word. I'm sorry, Mark, I can't say the word. They brought the blacks
yeah.
over. And that's there's no separating that. That's the thing that happened. So the blacks are here.
Yeah. They're entrenched.
Yes.
They're
here.
They are our
They're here,
American brothers.
Yeah. So
baby brothers.
I've learned to love them as Americans.
Right on. Yeah. And you better love them. It's the best thing for you and them.
Yeah. Truly. So, anyway. All right. Well, I'm sure you got a lot going on. So
great call, Daniel. You know what's interesting to me about you is you heard of me through Azzmador, correct?
Yes, and this is his anniversary.
That's right.
Well, of his passing.
Well, June 18th was probably or 17th. It was around this time. Yeah.
Right.
He died.
Yeah.
And last week I did a little mention of it was coming up because I saw some other mention of it on the internet. And so, shout out to...
I'm sure you have I'm sure you have a number of Azzmador aficionados
Yeah.
listening.
1 year
He
later,
was,
he died, and it was a horrible heart attack, and he was just had to grin and bear it at home, and he didn't even really know necessarily that it was a heart attack, I think.
Yeah.
And his parents found him, I guess, or whatever, and then Lee Rogers
Right.
heard the news and put it out on the internet on InfoStormer, I guess it was,
Right.
where the news
And
broke.
and the show goes on. You know, the show goes on, so that they're still carrying that. But I did. You know, it's been a year without him, and what a year it has been.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. Crazy.
So I really do miss his commentary. I mean, I miss it. It was so unique.
Yeah.
There's nothing will replace it, really. But they do carry the show, and they do a good job with the show.
Nice.
And they have their own unique spin, and I like that.
The Crypto Report with a K.
Yeah,
Crypto.
so nothing will replace that show either.
Yeah, totally. Azzmador, our resident historian, and he interviewed Jesse Lee. He was on a panel that was interviewing Jesse Lee, and he was kind of aggressive with Jesse. And then he realized, you know what, Jesse's right about this anger thing. And but he was a very strongly pro-white and very outspoken against a lot of these Jewish influences and against, you know, the black mess.
Yeah.
And he seemed like a decent guy, fair-minded, and honest. And what was interesting to me is, though, that you said that it was a mistake to identify as white in America. Have you held that?
Yeah.
Have you held that position for many years, even before coming across me on Azzmador, or is this recent?
No, this is a recent thing that I've kind of come to realize that, and it's probably growing further into identities in general. But what is clear is there is no legal protection for particular identities, one of which is white. And it seems that this is meant for people who would otherwise live a prosperous life to fall entrapped into, to be taken advantage of.
Yeah. Totally. And what's interesting is they want us to identify as white. And by them wanting us, they're needling people and trying to get people angry and being unreasonable. And when you're angry, you're like, oh, fine, I'll be that. And, you know, when you're under attack as a group, even when you're not even necessarily identifying with that group, it kind of is a temptation to, it's kind of like the blacks saying, say the N-word, say it. They're baiting and tempting you to say it when normally you wouldn't even think to say it. But some people will like start to say it. So it's a trap that they lay for the whites.
Right.
Yeah.
For their evil machinations.
Yep. Oh, it's machinations, not machinations?
I think you can say it either way.
Nice. It's great hearing from you, Daniel, in Texas. Appreciate you, man.
Okay. All right.
All right. Bye. Robert in Kansas here. Robert, thank you for calling, man. And Holden, what's up?
Hey, I call in first. You leave me on hold. I mean, are you just that scared, man?
How do you know you call in first? What makes you think that you call in first?
You need to have your other Israeli agents call in.
I do not dox the order in which people call, but I can tell you one thing: you were not first.
Okay, Rabbi Hake, I believe you. You always tell the truth.
Don't call me Rabbi. I'm not a teacher.
So your call with Omar, appreciate your platforming, sir, that you would platform him. You have him on. Same thing with all your other guests. You know, you guys can push up against each other, and it can help both of you.
Nice.
You know, so to speak. Not trying. No Diddy. Oh, but speaking of that, hey, Do you, if I ask you a question, I said Israel or Iran, which one would you pick?
I'd pick Israel.
Yeah. Well, that lets me know.
What would you pick?
Well, I'd pick Iran, of course. But
why is that of course?
Well, because listen, hey, I see, but me and you can get married in Israel. Me and you, because I'm a pretty handsome guy.
That's not
too.
a real marriage, man. But okay, I get you that okay. Israel has the Western degeneracy, and so you prefer the degeneracy of the East, Middle East.
Hey,
we'll call it the Middle East. You prefer the Middle Eastern degeneracy?
That's funny. That's fun. That's a good way to. Yeah. Okay. Good job, bro. You're like. Yeah, man.
Are you aware of the evils of Iran? Because we can all name the evils of Israel and of America and the West, and all these white countries are falling into the LGBT agenda for sure. That's nasty. I'm with you on that. But I'm not with Iran running. If I had to go to one or the other, I would go to Israel. Or if I had to pick between one, I'd pick Israel. It seems like they're a little bit more civilized, even if they're dumb libs and enemies of the whites or whatever. It's not like the Shia Muslims are not enemies of the whites too, even though they're Persians and Aryans just like me. They don't worship God either.
I was going to say the war on Iran is because it's one white nation who hasn't bent the knee.
They're not that white.
You understand?
How they're not? No. They're not normal whites, man.
But you see the war on white.
It's white on white. It's a white on white war.
Well, no,
Israel and Iran are white. It's white on white, just like Russia, and the Ukraine.
All right. Well, I don't want to. I mean,
and you can claim Jews are not white, or they're not normal whites. I'm with you. I'm totally with you. But you can't sit there and claim that the Persians are normal whites like you and me.
Hey, I never know. I never know if you're going to have me on for 30 seconds or 30 minutes. So I always wonder what I should get to because I want to try and help everybody.
No, tell me what's good about Iran or what's less evil about Iran than is about Israel.
Okay, in Iran, women do not vote. They don't kill their babies. They don't have a say because they're women. They don't do the things of men. They do the things of women.
Nice. Okay, yeah, I give you that. Okay, tell me something evil about Iran that you don't like.
Something evil about Iran? They're Muslim. Yeah, so Islam is evil.
Whoa. Okay, I don't know. A lot of people are Muslim and they're nice people.
Man, look at Rabbi Hake can't even say Islam is evil. I mean, man... Dude, we are just like whatever the money says, right?
No, but tell me what's evil about Islam.
What is evil about Islam?
Because Islam is just a name. I don't know what's evil about it.
I mean, dude, first of all, listen, some of the best people I ever met are Muslim.
Right, so, me too. But what's evil about Muslim?
What is evil about Islam? Hake. Dude, we don't have the time, bro. I actually have a personal.
Well, okay, are they pro-murder? Are they worshiping a false god? Are they? Because there's things to say that's evil about different beliefs. I forgot what's evil about Islam. I forgot.
Yeah, well, I try to forget too, sir. But no, I have a question for you, brother. Like, okay, you know how I'm a little bit gay, right?
No, I gotta go.
No. Okay, no. I have a question for you though, hey, because I really have a real question because I don't know.
I feel like you're trolling me.
I'm not, brother. I'm saying let's say I'm not as gay as.
I gotta go, Robert. Nice talking with you. Quran says you cannot befriend Christians. 13 verses. Hake says LARPing for cash. And LARPing is LARP, live action role play for the boomers. Iran is a death cult, says Albert McDade. I mean, I'm friends sort of, I think, or maybe he's like a sly, like every other friend slash fiend. I'm friends with Omar. Third Rail Omar was acting like he's scared that I'm going to ban him. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to ban him because I don't know. But there's nothing in me that at this time, at least, it hasn't really crossed my mind at all to ban Omar, Third Rail Omar, and he's Muslim. He's pretty westernized, pretty Americanized, but he's Muslim. I think. Third Rail with Omar. Third Rail Omar on TikTok. Okay. Well, because think about it. Say you're born and raised Muslim. Just be Muslim until you see otherwise. But there's all these people seeking after all these things, and seekers are some of the worst people, you know? They're just crazy. By seekers, I mean like this people who are like seeking outside and reading all this stuff. Like there was this caller whom I really like, but he's a young man who really looks up to Jesse and me and maybe some other people, and he reads the Bible, and he was reading this non-canonical book, the Gospel of like Enoch or something, I don't know. Which I guess that wouldn't be a gospel, right? Gospel of Mary, I don't know. But he's like seeking because he's listening to all these books, and it's like, oh, it's kind of like what Jesse said. It's interesting, it's fine, I guess, but it just comes off as looking outside. I heard the question before, and I asked him, have you found what you're looking for? And apparently not if you're voraciously pursuing all this knowledge stuff. They are allowed to lie to you to subvert. Hey, come on, LOL. Lots of laughs, laughing out loud. Hat tip to the late, great Colin Flaherty. So many great men have fallen. Rest in peace. Iran is perfect, Hake. I'm not saying Islam is not evil. And I'm not saying curiosity is bad. Come on, man. Hake just called Roger Deltray crazy. I didn't know. I don't even know who that is. I'm just making the point that there is a, let's call it an ego pursuit. It's an ego excitement pastime, voraciously pursuing all this knowledge. Okay? Because that's not truth. I'm not saying truth is bad. I'm saying facts are... He is slow, says Eli P. I grant you that. I'm pointing out... I've explained this to you guys so much, and you guys know it. Give me a break. That it's just a vain... It's a vain pursuit that puffs up your ego, and you get excited about hearing the truth and reading the truth and finding the truth. And meanwhile, you're not even really paying attention to your self and your life. And as the Bible says, be self-controlled and alert. You're just caught up in it. It's basically like watching a Netflix series, which I disavow those. Or even worse, an HBO series, and I disavow those. Anyway, so Iran or Israel, asks Robert, and chatting with the snake pit. Pit on Islam and knowledge pursuits. It says seek peace and pursue it, not seek... Well, maybe it does seek knowledge and wisdom and stuff. Whatever. What's up, Eli P? Appreciate your calls. Thanks for the diamonds, as always, of course. What's up, CEO of Base? He gave a a lemon over there. A few super chats over on Buy Me a Coffee. Cesar says, "Sup, Hake?" Let me refresh because I like to show the coffees because it's kind of fun. You guys can read along rather than listen, because listening is hard. Reading is hard too, but if you listen and read at the same time, you may take it in a little better. Sup, Hake? I'm gonna have to podcast today's report. Looking sideways with a frown emoji, sort of up in the sky, almost an eye roll. I've never seen that emoji. But yesterday's report, I did catch live, man. After yesterday, we need a 3-hour Hake report. My suggestion would be to try it for a week and see how it goes. 10 thumbs up. Have a great show, bud. Thanks, Cesar Caesar. Not a victim, bought a coffee. Enjoyed listening to your caller speak on quantum fitness. Was that my caller, or are you talking about JLP? Did you know if you don't look up, heaven draws closer to the earth? Oh, quantum flatness. Oh, not fitness. I can't read. That's cool. It kind of does. If you don't look up, you see it on the horizon, and it's right there on the horizon. It's like, because the firmament is all around us. Thank you, not a victim. Very cool. I didn't really know necessarily or think about it, but I think you're right. And quantum flatness, you'll have to describe that to me, but Jaime from Minnesota mentioned that. Ronnie from Ohio, my brother Hake, happy Juneteenth. Thank you, Ronnie. Happy Juneteenth to you. We should be gracious and wish the blacks who whatever say that, back to them, happy Juneteenth. Because you should be happy, and it is Juneteenth. How many years passed between the black Africans being brought here during the transatlantic slave trade and Juneteenth? Well, if the 1619 project is true, then they arrived first, I guess, 1619, although maybe they arrived before that, I don't know. Some of them, a few. But the full-blown slave trade was around the 1600s, I guess. And Juneteenth, 1865, 1619 to 1865 is 226 years or something like that. I don't know. I can't do math. Something like that. So they were here for a long time. Nice. So that would be over 200 years of whatever. Anyway, thank you, Ronnie. Hopefully I answered your question appropriately to what you were getting at. Sweet. Let me just double check on anywhere else. I did see that thing. I think I mentioned Gregatron. You guys working on Juneteenth? Indeed I am. But no Big Bump today. At least not in person. He is with us in spirit. Perhaps. Big Bump. Did send me a couple of tips from 2023 about Ron Paul flashbacks. After October 7th, on October 8th, 2023, Big Bump sent me this. Sent me this while I was reflecting after initial news of the attack. Ron Paul speaking to Congress immediately came to mind, a flashback. And this filmsforaction.org has a watch section in which Ron Paul says that Israel created Hamas. Let me post that into the chat and post it into, I don't know, I posted it right, I'll post it right here. I'll post it right here and show you guys. See if I can show it to you guys. How does that grab you? Come on, there it is. Ron Paul, Israel created Hamas. See if this goes.
Gentlewoman from Florida is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to yield 2 minutes to the gentleman from Texas, Dr. Paul.
Dr. Ron Paul from Tejas.
The gentleman is recognized for 2 minutes.
Gentlelady for yielding, and I ask unanimous consent to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection.
Madam Speaker, I rise in opposition to this resolution, not because...
What resolution? I don't know or remember. But he was a Republican from Texas, Ron Paul. Dr. Ron Paul, that is. Rand's dad. But like Rand Paul, but way better. Maybe, kind of. I mean, I think.
I am taking sides and picking who the bad guys are and who the good guys are. I am taking sides to this resolution, not because I am taking sides and picking who the bad guys are and who the good guys are, but I'm looking at this more from the angle of being a United States citizen, an American, and I think resolutions like this really do us great harm. In many ways, what's happening in the Middle East, and in particular with...
Let me just stop there and check if this thing explains what the thing is. U.S. Congressman Rand Paul... Israel created Hamas to destabilize Arafat. I remember that name, Arafat, who was very powerful at the time. Zionism is a geopolitical movement 100 years ago. Theodore Herzl, pushed forward by the Rothschilds. Look up Jews against Zionism. For those who believe in the Bible, read Revelation 2:9-3:9. I disavow. I don't know what it says. But it probably talks about Jews. I want to know what the resolution is. You don't even tell me what the resolution is about. But anyway, it's probably some resolution supporting Israel about something.
With Gaza right now, we have some more ways. What's happening in the Middle East, and in particular with Gaza right now, we have some moral responsibility for both sides in a way, because we provide help and funding for both Arab nations and Israel. And so we definitely have a moral responsibility, and especially now today, the weapons being used to kill so many Palestinians are American weapons, and American funds essentially are being used for this. But there's a political liability which I think is something that we fail to look at, because too often there's so much blowback from our intervention in areas that we shouldn't be involved in. You know, Hamas, if you look at the history, you'll find out that Hamas was encouraged and really started by Israel, because they wanted Hamas to counteract Yasser Arafat. And you say, well, yeah, that was better then and served its purpose, but we didn't want Hamas to do this. So then we as Americans say, well...
Hey, here's the resolution. Gaza Strip conflict, the resolution back in those times, in this time, was recognizing Israel's right to defend itself against attacks from Gaza and supports a peace agreement. And so he doesn't want to sign on and agree with that resolution, and he's talking about a little bit of the backstory. Pardon me for interrupting Dr. Ron Paul here.
Want Hamas to do this. So then we as Americans say, well, we have such a good system, we're going to impose this on the world.
Let me go back a little bit, because I lost track of what he was talking about.
You'll find out that Hamas was encouraged and really started by Israel, because they wanted Hamas to counteract Yasser Arafat. And you say, well, yeah, that was better then and served its purpose, but we didn't want Hamas to do this. So then we as Americans say, well, we have such a good system, we're going to impose this on the world. We're going to invade Iraq and teach people how to be Democrats. We want free elections. So we encourage the Palestinians to have a free election. They do, and they elect Hamas. So we first indirectly and directly through Israel help establish Hamas. Then we have election. Then Hamas becomes dominant, so we have to kill them.
Whoa.
You know, it just doesn't make sense. During the 80s, you know, we were allied with Osama bin Laden. And we were contending with the Soviets. It was at that time our CAA thought it was good if we radicalized the Muslim world. So we financed the madrasa schools to radicalize the Muslims in order to compete with the Soviets.
He was talking about the CIA, not the CAA, I think, who did that. Wow, to compete with the Soviets.
Muslims in order to compete with the Soviets. There's too much blowback. There's a lot of reasons why we should oppose this resolution. It is not in the interest of the United States. It's not in the interest of Israel either.
Wow. Shout out. Ron Paul was smarter than I realized and more sensible. Silence.
If this were a dictatorship, it'd be a heck of a lot easier. Just so long as I'm the dictator.
That's right. That's right, W. I like that guy, George W. Bush. If this were a dictatorship, it'd be a lot easier, as long as I'm the dictator. That's how Obama felt, too. So that was from, that was posted in 2011. But I think it was predated that, right? Yeah, had to. Anyway, the lines are full. Thank you and shout out to Big Bump. Nice. Corey in Florida is on the line over here. Corey, how you doing, sir?
Mr. Hake, can you hear me okay?
I can. I mean, I think I can. Go ahead. Let's hear more.
I just took you off speakerphone.
Nice.
Just want to call in and show you some support. You know, I call in to Jesse's show from time to time, but I really appreciate all his other acolytes like you and Nick and Joel and everybody. I'm glad you guys gotten a start on a good career, and Jesse's a good mentor for you guys. It's amazing.
Right on, man. Thank you. That's cool. I agree.
Yeah, man. So I've been listening. You know, I think there's a lot of things I want to say, but some of them might sound a little crazy because I'm older than most of your listening audience.
Nice.
But one of the things that's never talked about anymore, which I think really should be brought up more by the right. You used to hear it 10, 15, 20 years ago, because actually one of Israel's famous politicians, Golda Meir, used to say, you know, there's no such thing as a Palestinian. I mean, the Palestinian people are Bedouin Arabs that were invented. You know, the Yasser Arafat came in and started the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, and started this whole thing about Palestinians and Palestine. You know, Israel was called Palestine for centuries, I don't know centuries, but quite a long time. And really, the Jews are Palestinians. I mean, the Jews are the original Palestinians, and it's kind of weird how the whole thing got co-opted and twisted and made to think that the Jews don't belong in Israel and the quote-unquote Palestinians, who are just nomadic Bedouin Arabs, do.
Interesting.
And I don't know why that's not more mainstream, more talked about, and more brought up, because there's gray areas there, but it's more or less objective reality. And it's just completely been taken away. I mean, you don't ever hear it anymore, you know? I mean, you could look up Golda Meir. She was, you know, she was like she had the same post that Bibi Netanyahu currently has. And she was in power in the 60s or 70s during the wars.
A woman, huh?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure she had Netanyahu's same position. If not, she was really high up in the Israeli government. And but you know,
what do you say to Omar and others? There are many Jew critics who claim that the Jews of today are not the Jews of back in the Bible times and stuff like that. And Omar brings up the fact that these Jews in Israel are white, light-skinned anyway, Ashkenazi Jews who can't handle the sun in that area. And so, like, he's claiming they're not from that area. What do you say to that?
Well, first of all, there's Ashkenazi and Sephardic Jews both in Israel. So there's both. And
Sephardic
there are some that
the
are
darker-skinned ones, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And but they're all of Jewish lineage. I mean, they really, you know, there's light-skinned and super black African American people, right, or Africans, and there's all different, but they're Jews. I mean,
yeah,
and Israel's bloodlines are pretty pure. I mean, if you look back at history and even today, I mean, the Jews don't go around trying to convert people. I mean, you know, usually it's not just a religion; it really is
ethnicity, huh?
A race,
a
a
nation.
race, an ethnicity, and a race of people. I mean, when was the last time you heard of a Jew coming and trying to convert you? And they don't, and they've been that way their whole life. I mean,
why do
their
we
whole
not?
history.
This is a slightly different question, but why do we not know any of the rest of the Israeli nations? I mean, Israelite nations. We don't know the tribe of Reuben people. We don't, at least the non-Black Hebrew Israelites don't know. The Black Hebrew Israelites claim that they know Gad, Asher, Dan, all these other nations. Why don't we know any of them? They got too scattered?
I don't know. It's a good question, but you look back how far in history that goes, and how far it is to track that kind of lineage when you think about it. You know, I mean, the first original 12. I think technically, you're a Christian too. I mean, I think technically they say there's actually 13 tribes. I forget what the story is.
The Jews are the house of Judah, right? Right. Yeah, I think.
And there's all these. If you start going in deep digging into the Bible, you know how it was broken in half in certain periods and everything. Yeah. The other thing that blows my mind is whenever there's archaeological digs and there's discoveries in Israel or in that part of the Middle East, almost always without fail, it collaborates with the Bible. I mean, they all this archaeological digs and all these things that they find in Israel just give credence to biblical scripture in a lot of the historical parts of the Bible, at least.
You called them Bedouin Arabs? Is that what you called them?
Bedouin. Yes.
Bedouin. Bedouin, nomadic, like you said, nomadic Bedouin Arabs. Nomadic people traditionally inhabiting desert regions of the Middle East and North Africa. So they traveled around and kind of like, I guess, Abraham sort of did, right?
Yeah. I mean, look at your biblical history. I mean, the Jews were wandering around, and you had all these different people that were always warring with them. You know, they went by different names back then, and some of those cultures are long gone and extinct. I mean, it's unbelievable, the history of the Middle East. It's just one giant hundreds and hundreds of thousands or years or more of just fighting and warring amongst different peoples, man. Yeah. It's unreal.
Right.
You know, it really is. It's sad, but it's just pretty amazing. It's very interesting.
Nature,
I'm not. Huh?
That's human nature. I mean, that's happening everywhere if you think about it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a really, really serious concentration, really serious history in that area. You know, because it's also an older part. I mean, you know, we're only 250, 300 years old in that range, and we have our warring here with the Native Americans and all that stuff. But they had an extra 1,000+ years in Europe, the whole European continent, and the Middle East. They had thousands of more years to fight with each other than we had.
Yeah.
So what were you saying at the beginning? I kind of caught at the beginning about the whole Juneteenth thing. I'm kind of on the same page as you. I feel like it's really an injustice that there's two major holidays.
Yeah.
You know, I'm totally okay with the fact that the African American community needs to have some sort of, I don't want to use the word reparations because I don't believe they don't need to have any kind of monetary reparations, but they do need acknowledgement of their past and their history.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, Martin Luther King was a great man. And you think about how far the left has come, Martin Luther King wouldn't even be relevant today. I mean, some of the things that he said and his philosophies probably would be shut down if he were alive and he started today, you know?
He probably, you know, I think he's sort of a man of his time, you know,
right.
Because in his time, it wasn't that based to be, for example, for a real normal marriage as opposed to for a so-called same-sex marriage or, you know, all these, the time, people just go along with the times. Just look at Joe Biden. He's old in his 80s, you know, and he's old, but he's been around for all this time and he's just gone right along with the waves of change. And so he didn't really have values. And I don't know that MLK would have stood against any of this stuff that we're seeing today. You know?
It's hard to say. We'll never know. I mean, I definitely agree with you. In general, that's one of the divisions of the two parties is the Democrats don't have any morals or integrity. They don't have a
That's
value
right.
system that they stick with, and they like you said, they just go with the flow and go with the tide. Look at Obama, how many times he switched gears. He started, I'm against same-sex marriage, and then he switches gears on that, and he supported it. And there was a few other things where he was a turncoat too originally. I mean, they're just. Mark Levin says it best. They'll do anything and everything for absolute power to take over the country. They really don't.
You'll notice the quote-unquote Republicans follow along eventually, too.
Yeah, well, my personal philosophy, I wanted to talk to Jesse about this one time. I think people don't look at the big picture. I mean, you understand this. I think that over the last 60 years, the country has slowly ratcheted more and more to the left and farther to the left. We know now that the Democratic Party is truly like a Marxist, socialist, leftist, radical party.
Yep.
And I think that the Republican Party is more what the Democratic Party was like under John F. Kennedy in the 60s and 70s, right? So if that's true, we really do need a new party to the right of the Republican Party. We need a constitutional conservative kind of party that is like they were calling it the Patriot Party when Trump lost. We need to form a Patriot Party, whatever. But I just think that we really do need a new party to the right, because the Republicans are, they've always been historically fairly worthless, especially in the last 20 years. I think that all started with Bush. Bush really sold us down the river, I think, and he gave up the fiscal conservatism that the Republican Party was known for.
Or W?
Yeah.
HW.
Talking about W.
Daddy.
Well, really both of them, but more the son, because I mean, at least the Republican Party had some values. They were fairly fiscally responsible, and they haven't been fiscally responsible now in 20 years. That's why our debt just keeps ballooning. It's really sad.
30 years almost.
Yeah, very sad.
Right on, Corey. I appreciate it. Great.
Yeah, man. Hey, so I know Joel doesn't have a show, but. There's no way to ever get in touch with and talk to Joel. How's he doing? Does he still do a lot of dance stuff with the dance studio and everything?
He's doing his thing. I don't know about the dance. I think he quit the dance studio for a while. But, yeah, we're wishing him well. Thank you, Corey.
Cool. All right, buddy. Have a good one, man.
All right. Nice. We're at the top of the hour here, but before I get to more Super Chats, Anthony is on the line over here from SoCal. Anthony, I didn't get to him yesterday. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, Hake?
Hey.
Thanks again.
Oh, you wanted to get at Omar probably because you talked to him before.
Yeah, man. What's up with that? You didn't let me on the line? What's going on?
I didn't think of it. I got carried away with KT. I kept him on for 30 minutes, but I was engrossed in our conversation with KT. So sorry.
Yeah.
My bad.
No worries. I would be too. I mean, he brought up a lot of interesting points. I mean, I don't know if when you join the military, of course we don't want to go to war, but when you join the military, you're kind of that's kind of what you sign up for. It kind of just sounded like his cousin wanted to just get the GI Bill.
I know. I was thinking about that after the fact. He's like, I have cousins who are in the military, and they may end up going to war for Israel or against Iran or whatever. I'm like, they signed up for the military, and it's not news that Israel and the Middle East are influential on whether we go to war or not. And so, what are you surprised? Are you acting all outraged over something that you should have known going into it that you could go to war?
I know. Yeah, it's bizarre, man.
Like they're babies, and we're supposed to feel sorry for them. They're not babies,
right? Like I was so shocked, man.
Yeah,
I was like, this is embarrassing. Really,
yeah.
It's like.
And I'm not for just wasting our soldiers, of course.
Me neither.
I'm with them on that concern, but this outrage and passion and condemnation of Trump as an imbecile and just he's gonna get us killed and stuff like that. It's called being beside yourself. You're beside yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bizarre, and I mean, I'm glad you kind of pushed him on Obama because I mean, the weird part is Obama said we have to send them the pallets of cash because of the sanctions, and we couldn't do bank wiring. But the month before they did the U.S. sent them, I think it was just under $1 million wired for architectural design and fossil in the Tehran Museum.
Really?
Some weird.
Yeah, you know what?
Man.
You know what? It was their money that we gave them, right? We gave them their money, but we have held up people's money before. You can just not pay somebody, and what can they do about it? They can't do anything about it. And that's what we were doing to Iran. We were not giving them their money. And so that was a policy, and Obama released that policy, and then he made the excuse, that's their money. Then all the liberals fell for that. Oh, that's their money. And the conservatives were like, no, that's pandering and giving them, I don't know what it is.
Dude, hey, it wasn't even their money though. It was the old Shah. So the current supreme leader overthrew the old Shah.
Oh, so it was the old Shah's money.
Exactly.
Not the current regime's money. Whoa.
And this guy's giving Obama credit. I'm thinking, dude, are you nuts? That's funny. What world are we living in here, man?
Yeah.
And it was part of it was 1.7 billion in total in cash.
Wow.
And Iran props up Assad, dropping chemical attacks in Syria on Christian civilians. I don't know, man. I don't know what's wrong with these people these days, but that's fine. He's entitled to his own opinion.
Can I bring up something since it's Juneteenth and the blacks are going to eventually get their fake reparations thing?
Sure.
You know how the blacks are Christians and a lot of them think they're Israelites. I wonder if the Israelites would be for so-called reparations because slavery was more than 7 years ago. And every 7 years, there is this year of Jubilee, according to the Israelites and the Jews. It's in the Bible. And so all debts are forgiven. So America does not, even if, let's pretend that slavery was this wrong that needs to be repaired with money or with whatever, the debt has been forgiven because it's been more than 7 years. It's been like 150 or so years. Where's the forgiveness? There is no forgiveness from these blacks who want this reparations stuff. I don't know if that's a good point, but I think of it as sort of a good point.
That's, I think what you're pointing out is the underlying issue that their exegesis of the text is perhaps not consistent.
Yeah.
Because I don't know any other group of Jews or Israelites that claim that besides the Hebrew Israelites.
Yeah.
It is bizarre, but no, that's funny now that you say that. I was curious, was Robert trolling earlier?
Yeah. I mean, he's generally a troll, but he's also a very definitely, he was not trolling, I don't think, in his hatred for Jews in Israel. He is a very passionate anti-Jewish, anti-Israel propagandist.
Yeah. I mean, I hope I'm sure he's been sleeping better since that attack on the two embassy members here in the U.S.
Oh.
I hope he's getting a full night's sleep now. But
crazy,
I was going to say, all four schools of Islamic jurisprudence condone abortion. And they still practice it in Iran. Recent figures were anywhere from 70 to 100,000 abortions annually. And on the point of Juneteenth, Muhammad had rulings on this actually, and they had they kept a lot of slaves, and typically, like if you missed a prayer, if you missed a fast, you could get right with God by selling a slave, or in some cases freeing a slave. Now, if a woman, there's different cases. If a woman gives herself an abortion, if someone kills her and the baby, or if someone just kills the baby, there's different words for that. But the way you reconcile that is you sell your slave and then you kill the slave. So it's like a blood ransom.
Whoa.
And that's in the Hadith. I could pull some sources, but and on the concept of marriage, Iran is the only Islamic country in the world, maybe one of the only countries in the world that
Stay close to your
subsidizes
phone so you come.
Oh,
Yeah.
my bad. Yeah, in the case of marriages, if Robert wants to do that little escapade in Israel, you could make it right, Robert, if you go to Iran and get a state-subsidized transgender surgery, because that's one of the only countries in the world that actually subsidizes that. So once a man, starts going the other way, they just flip him the other way 100%. So maybe, Robert, you could be interested in that, and then you could make the marriage official with Hake, So there's always a flexibility.
Iran permits sex reassignment surgery and legal gender recognition for those who undergo it. Interested. Crazy. What in the world?
Yeah, it's a beautiful culture, Hake. I'm glad Robert supports from over Israel. And by the way, I'm Egyptian.
You're being sarcastic, of course, right? I think.
Oh yeah, of course. Sorry, my voice is too deep; it doesn't come through.
I mean, I could kind of pick up. I just wanted to make clear. Wow.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay, go ahead.
Really, what? I mean, I'm not surprised. So, I'm Egyptian, right? We've had issues with Israel for a while.
Are you a Coptic Christian? I forget.
Yeah, exactly. You remember, Hake?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the reality is they're an ally with the United States, and it was kind of a bummer that the first two callers, they sounded really naive. I don't think they understand the depravity of Islamic culture on any neighboring society or country. I don't think he understands I think the issue is they have to demonize Israel because of how Israel responds to extremism. And they're really only looking at one side of the coin.
Meaning they're looking at the wrong that Israel's doing, but not the wrong of the others that they're fighting with? Is that what you mean, looking at one side of the coin?
Yeah, in a sense, and that's really superficial because there's more ideological foundations to all those Middle Eastern nations attacking Israel. Like, what's his name? KT was saying how, why everyone hates Israel in the Middle East? Because they're colonizers.
Uh-huh.
And I'm thinking, dude, you are so naive. I have no words for it. Hey, let me pull up this.
It sounds like a communist propagandist mischaracterization or a caricature of what actually went down. And I'm not necessarily saying that it was right that the UN founded Israel after World War II. I don't know, but it is. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's totally commie, and I mean what's his name? The other caller was saying, it's all because it's in the Bible. I have a comment on that as well, but so they hate the Jews in the Middle East because they are Jews. Because in their Quran and in their tradition, in the Hadith tradition, the Jews are compared as monkeys. They're compared as pigs. Let me pull up one of my favorite Hadiths. For your listeners, this is Sahih al-Bukhari. Sahih means authentic. It's the highest level authenticity of hadiths. It's Sahih al-Bukhari 2926. Allah's messenger said, that's Muhammad, the hour, and the hour is the end of the world, the hour will not be established until you fight with the Jews, and the stone behind which a Jew will be hiding will say, "O Muslim, there is a Jew hiding behind me, so kill him."
Whoa!
This is in their this is their theology, Hake.
Right.
This is depravity that people don't understand. And I'm glad your first caller today brought it up. That Britain has more influence than the Jews, and the reality is that I think when people attribute this omniscient ability of Jews to control things,
omnipotent.
As an Egyptian,
Yeah.
yet they're far from controlling things, man.
Yeah.
All right.
They're highly influential, but they're not the only ones. They're not the only ones. Just like
they're not.
Just like, yes, they are evil, but they're not the only evil ones.
Yeah, and you don't hear a lot about the Brits. I don't know why. I don't know why no one wonders why Prince Charles wears a kufi for fun. I mean, that weirdo. I mean, what's going on there?
I'm afraid to ask what a kufi is. Is that like a Muslim hat type of thing? North Africa, East Africa.
Yeah, look at Prince
KUFI.
Charles as a kufi, man. Yeah.
King Charles is wearing. That's that older guy who wears a kufi. I didn't know he wore a kufi. I mean, that's that older guy, King Charles. You're talking about him?
Yeah.
You're laughing. But what's your point about bringing up Britain? Like the stuff the meddling that they've done and made things better, and then sometimes made things way worse in like the Middle East. Is that why you're bringing up Britain? I got lost.
Yeah. No, it's just because like it's really my way of countering this like anti-Jew rhetoric in a logical way.
Okay.
And I mean, I'd love to hear Elijah or whoever else bring some solid facts. I mean, he's talking about 1,800 slaves and their eschatology. Dude, what are you talking about, bro? Like just read a little, man. It's end times theology. He's saying the Jews will have 1,800 slaves or whatever. It's just some nonsense. But
1,800 slaves, not slaves from the 1800s. That's what you're talking about. They get 1,800 slaves after they at the end of the world.
Yeah, that's what Elijah said. But it's I looked into it, and that's nowhere close to what it is. It's just some Western, naive little American perspective on.
Is it true that Muslims get 72 virgins if they do something, or is that another mischaracterization?
No, it's not a mischaracterization, Hake, and it's not virgins, by the way. They're houris, and the Quran describes them as translucent. So you could basically see through their skin.
Whoa! And
basically, if you read it in the Arabic, it sounds like they're just skeletons.
Whoa.
Honestly, it's honestly evil. The Islamic conception of heaven, or Jannah, as they call it, is identical to the eternal slavery to carnal desires of the Christian hell.
Wow.
That's exactly what it is.
That's wild.
They're having sex for eternity. Their male members are engorged beyond as long as they want. And this is all in the Hadiths.
Gross.
This is in their Islamic theological text, just to give you a perspective inside the mind of.
I mean, that is what a lot of people think of as heaven. Is they think that sex is heaven. They think that they're in heaven when they're having the fallen asleep.
Yeah, that's
selfish people.
Right. That's just
so it's understandable that they would. I mean, it's great. It's wrong. It's perverted.
Yeah, it's caveman thinking. It's just
shout out to the caveman.
Stone Age ideology. Yeah.
Yeah.
And with regards to I forgot which one of those callers was saying that land is designated to them in the Bible. I don't care what the Bible says about that land. Omar saying that Israelis can't fight. I don't know what happened during the 6 or 7 day war or whatever. What was it? Israel versus Egypt, Jordan, Iran. Who else? I mean, Israel was up against 5 different Middle Eastern nations, and they had half as many casualties, and they signed a agreement afterwards. What are you talking about, Omar? The Israelis can't fight, dude. They've been fighting since their inception against these barbaric desert nations. And when it comes to, what rights do the Muslims have in that region? This is the interesting part. So we always talk about, okay, well, Israel's there because the Bible says so. Right. Why are the Muslims there? You want to know why the Muslims are there? So in the Quran, Muhammad rides a flying donkey from the closest mosque to the farthest mosque, Mosque al-Aqsa, okay? And he says it's in Jerusalem, all right? So because Muhammad rode a flying donkey from his local mosque to a mosque in Jerusalem, then it's their land. Okay, so here's the interesting part, though.
And then I have to wrap up.
Gotcha, Hake. Unlike Israel, where there's actually archaeological evidence, that mosque is reported in the Hadith to be built by Umar after Muhammad's death. Okay, so this is what happens. Muhammad, whatever, drinks his camel urine because that was actually his favorite drink. Besides camel meat, that was his favorite food. So he does his thing. He flies on a donkey to the farthest mosque in Al-Aqsa, has it written down in the Quran. After his death, Umar says, "Oh, we're in Jerusalem. Here's Al-Aqsa. Let's build a mosque." So the mosque was built after his death and has no connection to him. It's a complete fabrication, and honestly, it's an insult to the intellect of just logic, dude. It's an affront to the human intellect to say that mosque or that land is theirs. It's a fairy tale, guys. It's not like the Bible where you say the Bible's a fairy tale. No, this is a dang fairy tale. So I don't know what these guys are going on about. Israel's fighting for their land. If they fight and they win, it's theirs. But as far as any biblical designation, personally, I don't care. And I think what
Nice.
Ted Cruz said yesterday, that was just retarded. I don't know who thinks like that, really. And I'm saying that as a Egyptian Christian.
What did Ted Cruz say yesterday?
Dude, Ted Cruz was saying it's those who he quoted the Bible verse. Hey, he is like those who defend Israel will be defended.
Oh, those who bless Israel will be blessed. Yeah.
Dude, can you believe that, man?
I quote that, but I mean,
but you don't quote it in the same way,
Yeah, I mean, because I don't know. I don't know if it's the same Israel. People say that it's not, and I don't really, the UN, has the UN done anything good? The UN created it, and now the UN is turning on Israel, although the UN created Israel. I just in general think that you should, bless everybody, even your enemies. But
yeah,
anyway. So Ted Cruz
to,
is a Christian Zionist, you're saying, and that's not what you're talking about. You're just talking about, practically speaking, they got to do what they got to do.
Yeah, they got to do. And what if you want to go to that part of the world? What country can you go to and take a vacation there safely?
Yeah.
Out of all,
I don't know. That's what Mark from Los Angeles said, and he's no fan of Israel or Jewish people, but he knows he recognizes that they make better neighbors in the neighborhood and better place to hang out at than some of these countries, at least so far.
Yeah, I mean, and Egypt has had issues with Israel for so long, and you know what? They're staying on business now.
Nice.
They have a wall bigger than ours between them and Gaza, because they know that it's a parasitic ideology that they don't want, that they've been fighting against for years. They just want peace.
Yeah.
Palestine doesn't want peace. This one-state solution Omar's talking about is bogus. It's bogus. It's like putting fleas on a healthy dog. Why would you do that? They're living in the Stone Age, man, because of their profit. And Israel's the only nation that is just trying to live in modernity, that actually don't have Stone Age mentality, and they're constantly fighting because they're constantly attacked because of a theological dogma. And all these naive Americans see is, oh my gosh, here's a rabbi biting some foreskin off, they're evil, and making like these bizarre connections in their minds.
Yeah.
It's just pathetic.
Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate it, man. I got to run.
Of course, Hank.
Yeah, take care.
Appreciate your time, Hank. Take care. You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Okay, I got 30 minutes to plow through Super Chats and to get to your calls. I'm going to do my best. JC from Little Rock, Arkansas. Happy Juneteenth. Thank you. You too. Big Bump isn't there? You remembered he's black? I love that squabble between you and Elijah. The man sends you money and likes your show and you insult him. Are coffees tax deductible? Question mark. I mean, laughing faces. No, they're not. You and Nick seem to have been jerks to your callers lately. Laughing faces. That's your characters. Imagine waiting on the calls and it ends up being Daniel, Jaime, Manuel, Justin, William. Talk about a snooze fest. At least Jeff, especially Mark, entertaining. Although I shouldn't laugh at the mentally ill. And remember Azzmador's death on Juneteenth? I don't think it was actually on Juneteenth. The ancestors are happy. Oh, and when Robert said no Diddy and then said, could I ask a personal question? I clutched my pearls, please. Don't read aloud, but blah, 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 blah. Bye, James. Happy Pride. God's promise emojis. Terry, hi, Hake. Happy Juneteenth. Not you too, Terry. But okay, happy Juneteenth, Terry. She's a former communist. Therefore, she celebrates these things for the blacks because she loves them. Please wish John Gray and Chad a happy birthday, too. He's a real one. Nice. Happy birthday. Right on. Thank you, everybody. And there was there were Super Chats over in the Rumble crew. What's up, Rumble crew? T-Fly Monkey and others. T-Fly Monkey again. And Age of Inversion asks, what's more evil about Iran than Israel? For starters, they don't blow up tens of thousands of children. They also haven't done terror attacks on us. Iran hasn't, he says. Nor help the invasion of our countries by Browns, says Age of Inversion. Interesting. And I think he's implying that Israel has done blowing up of tens of thousands, or at least, of tens of thousands of children and done terror attacks on us and helped the invasion of our countries by Browns. Thanks a lot, Israel. But but you didn't answer what's more evil about Iran than Israel. Age of Inversion, I think you tricked me. You told me what's the points where there's perhaps less evil than Israel, although I don't care about kids getting blown up. Nobody cares about kids getting blown up except for being by emotions. What's the difference between if it's kids or adults getting blown up? It's evil either way, right? But, if it's kids, it's babies. Just be quiet. But shout out Age of Inversion. Thanks as always for the support. Why, when Israel is attacked, y'all say don't mess with Israel, but if blacks kill more whites than Iranians kill Jews, we are told to love and not act. Well, Israel should love and not hate either. Nobody told you to love and not act. Where'd you get that, T-Fly Monkey? Who told you to love and not act? The world. Yeah, because blacks kill twice as many whites, more than twice as many whites every year than whites kill blacks, at least according to the FBI. For dealing with us, but also my answer answer my first question, please, when you get time, says T-Fly Monkey. Thank you, sir. Okay, so why when Israel is attacked, quote unquote, y'all say don't mess with Israel? That's what Jesse said. I didn't say it, but I guess I could agree. But if blacks kill more whites, Israel, I don't know, maybe we love you more than we love Israel because you are actually listening to us and Israel doesn't, except for Tomer, listen to us. Is BB a Hake listener? BB, love, don't hate. Love your enemies, BB. Nice. See, now I told him the same thing that we tell you, T-Fly Monkey. Whatever. Nice. And there was one from Ko-fi, Ko-fi, coffee.com/The Hake Report. Amazon or amazing. 2 claps and a party emoji from like a day ago or so. Thank you, someone. And they're like tan hands. So I wonder if it's like Sion or somebody. Sorry, Sion, it's probably not you. It might be you, but I don't know. Thanks for the support. Very cool. Lincoln asks, Lady Lewis asks, Hake, why do you wignats quote the FBI stats when it confirms some bias you have? Bias? But not when they attack Daddy Trump, you wignats sound R-worded, etardere. Because even the liberal FBI can't hide the truth, or the facts, let's say, about the blacks, Lady Lewis. And we all know that the FBI are lame-o liberals and they undercount the crime. So, nice. Shout out. Okay. Now, let me make sure that the Anchor Baby redirect is set. He will be live coming up next. We're at the bottom of the hour here, Anchor Baby, on YouTube and elsewhere. Nick. MX Murderer says, what's up, MX Murderer and you guys? Jihadi Hake. Not even. He knows that. Is it Jihadi Hake or Rabbi Hake? Okay. Let me get to Jeff in Louisiana over here on the line. Jeff, thanks for calling and holding, man. Go ahead.
A quick comment. Nobody should call somebody mentally ill when they're gay.
I know. Well, they can, but they just don't know what they're talking about.
But the reason I call is I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Okay, listen. Iceland, India, Indonesia, Iran, Iraq, Ireland, Israel, and Italy. What stands out of those countries?
Well, when you list them off like that, they all sound like they start with the letter I.
There's three of them that are predominantly Christian white nations that had not been in use for the last 60 years, begging U.S. for reinforcements or money.
They have gotten money and stuff from America?
No, I'm saying there's three of them that have not requested or been in news requesting large amounts of money.
Wow.
Or military reinforcements from the U.S. government for 60 years.
Wow. And which ones are those?
That is Iceland, Ireland, and Italy. And what those countries have in common? They're predominantly Christian white countries.
Wow. Versus Israel, Iran, and what other? Is there another I-word country that I named?
India, Indonesia, Iran, Iraq, and Israel.
Wow. Interesting, man. Shout out. It's better to be Christian and independent and peaceful.
Or Christian and white.
Yeah, that helps too.
And
if you're not white, just be white on the inside, meaning love everybody, including the whites. Love the whites.
Well, see, my point was that before this call was originally that we should be allies with countries start with I.
Oh, okay. You were going to say we should not be allies with countries that start with an I.
Think about how many people India and Indonesia send over here to work.
Yeah.
And for us to give our tax dollars to buy gas stations.
Do the gas stations where the Indians work and the 7-Elevens maybe, I don't know. Are they subsidized by our government money or our taxpayer money? Yeah.
Yeah. There's a guy that's at restaurant. Actually, it used to be my family store over 40 years ago. We sold to somebody else, and he wants to sell to them. But he owns 3 stores within a 10-mile distance.
Nice.
They're subsidized by our government. And to top it off on that, they get discounts on the gas from their country.
Wow. So yeah, forget these. Shout out to the Indians, but I'm with you, man. It's good to hear from you, Jeff. I have to hurry you along.
Okay, man. That's fine, man. Have a good one.
You too. Jeff in Louisiana. And David in Ocala, Florida on the line here. David, what's up, man?
What's up? Did you get my message? I wrote you need to get a big clock, like the one they had in Scarface, up on the wall.
I haven't seen Scarface yet, but nice.
That'll
keep me under control in terms of my call length, my conversation length.
You'll look up there and realize 25 minutes went by.
Indeed.
Anyway, I'm just messing with you, man.
Nice.
Let me tell you this real quick, man. You'll like this. I got woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning with a freaking tractor trailer out in front of my house with this goofball delivering sod for the new house being built next to me.
Whoa.
I know. That's illegal. So I went out there, and the guy was smart. He's a young kid. He had a black shirt on with a cross hanging around his neck.
Why are you laughing? What's funny about that?
Because, man, it's like he knew somebody was going to come out there, and if they saw that cross, they might just say, all right. Because that's what I did, man. I just told him. I said, hey, man, anyway, listen, I called about these Muslims, buddy,
yeah. Okay.
All right, so they just believed that Jesus was a prophet.
Yeah.
And he was taken by God, okay? So he didn't, so they believe
so he didn't die. He wasn't actually crucified. He was taken by God?
Yeah, he was taken. Okay, so they believe he was a prophet of God, but he was taken by God, and then they put an imposter up on the cross and killed him. And that Jesus is going to come back and defeat the Antichrist, which is like their, I don't know what they call him, but they don't call him the Antichrist. They call him something else. I should have looked that up. But anyway, he's going to come back and defeat their Antichrist, and then he's going to live a normal life, die, and be buried by Muhammad. That's what's terrible about them, buddy. Still there?
Yeah, I'm taking in.
Think about what I just told you, man.
I'm taking a moment to see if I can comprehend. But that's not really. That's just like some belief that doesn't really have to do with.
That's blasphemy in the highest. Dude.
Yeah, but is it blasphemy against the Spirit? Blasphemy is their problem. It's not like our problem, right?
Well, it's going to send them to hell.
But it won't send us to hell.
Hell's full of them people, huh?
It may or may not send them to hell, but it won't send us to hell, though.
No, it won't send us to hell. But your friend that comes on the show, okay, now you know why they hate Israel so much, because God chose those people, okay? That's why you need to read the Old Testament. I was talking to Mr. Pink about this in the chat. People don't read the Old Testament, so they don't even know what God did or does. Okay, you got what I'm saying?
Nice.
Very important. It's very important to know that.
But as the Jew blamers say, Jewish people don't accept Jesus either. And some people, some of them even bring up something that's allegedly or claimed to be in their Jewish Talmud or something about what supposedly Jesus, where supposedly Jesus is. Supposedly they're talking about Jesus in this certain verse that talks about somebody down below boiling in number 2. And I don't really care. That's kind of gross. I've never heard Jews make the claim. I've only heard them make the claim. It's kind of vulgar for them to be repeating it. But they could call that blasphemy, and so they're both blasphemous. Iran and Israel, according to you and the Jew haters.
Well, that just shows you the heart of God. Okay, he chose these people. 99% of them don't believe he's the Messiah. That's why they ripped out Isaiah 53 out of the Old Testament. Okay, read that, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. But anyway, they don't even read that.
Really?
But see, watch this. Remember, Jesus said, he told them, he said, if you destroy this temple, I will raise it up in 3 days. Okay.
Nice, man. I gotta keep things moving, David. But thank you for your point, man.
I know you do, but just remember that, because that proves that Jesus is God. When he said that, when he said, "You destroy me," yeah, I will raise it up in 3 days. That's why, watch this. If you confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that God raised Jesus from the dead, ye shall be saved.
Oh.
So God raised Jesus from the dead, and Jesus said, I will raise myself up in 3 days.
All right, David, we'll have to talk
All right,
again,
baby.
hopefully.
All right,
Appreciate you,
man.
man.
Y'all be good. All right, later on.
All right, bye. Alan in Michigan is on the line here. Alan, go.
Thanks for taking my call, and I am timing myself.
Thank you, sir.
I'm limiting myself. I am focusing. I'm not going all over the place like you.
Oh, you cut out there, Alan.
I enjoyed Omar. I haven't listened to all of it because I got a little late coming in.
Okay.
On yesterday. Very good. He knows. Also, some very good. Well, you got some good callers. This last one, Anthony from SoCal, the Egyptian.
Yep.
Now he's got me. I've got a copy of the Quran, and now I've got to read it to find out what it says.
Now there's the Quran, but there's also the Hadiths or something, or I don't know. There's the Quran is not their only thing, so because there's other stuff, and so they claim that it's not in the Quran, but it's in other stuff that's just as important or something, or I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, I got to sort it out. Also for Mark, if he's listening. Mark, please. I learned early not to send books, Mr. Hake, referring to you.
No, I don't have a problem with him. I have his books by my bedside.
Well, okay.
And so I may get to them. I told him up front, I don't know if I will read them, but I may not get to them. So anyway.
Yeah. Also, I have been going over, because of others, some of the speeches of George Lincoln Rockwell, of Adolf Hitler, and some others I won't mention. And their analysis of history and everything was spot on. Absolutely correct. I agree.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but it's the solutions that I disagree with.
Yeah.
The idea of opposing the wicked when we're in a real sense being punished. Okay. The last thing I'm going to say, because I'm taking up your time here. The gentleman, the Egyptians, gave me some information to look up for Islam. David from Ocala about some things in the scriptures in the Old Testament, which I disagree with them on some. And others, and Eli, who I appreciate, and he seems to know the scripture. But okay, let's look at Judaism. Okay,
real fast. I'm going to have to hurry you along. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm. This is from the horse's mouth. Where does LGBT stuff come from? It comes from the Babylonian Talmud, and it's online. You can find it. There are 8 divisions, according to the Talmud, of sexuality.
Ugh.
So that's where it comes from. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Oh, interesting. Thank you for the info, man. I appreciate it. Alan in Michigan. Take care, man. We'll talk again, I hope.
You too.
All right.
Take care.
Bye. Elijah in California is on the line here, I think. Go ahead.
I'm on.
Nice.
Good morning, Hake.
Morning.
Yeah, one of the earlier callers said I lied or I made up that Jews said they'd have 1,800 Goyim slaves, but I actually have it on. It's on YouTube.
Nice.
It's CORY Schuster. It's like 3 million views. It says religious Jews are asked about the Talmud, which is very blasphemous. It talks about Jesus. I think you mentioned it. Jesus was burning in human excrement for eternity.
Yeah, something gross. But some of them claim that that's not Jesus that they're talking about. So it's divine.
No, it is. It is. That's their
anyway.
Their mental gymnastics they use.
Yeah.
Or they do that to cover for themselves.
Do you care about that?
They say it right here. It's on YouTube. They say it.
Do you care?
What's that?
Do you care that they believe that they're going to have a bunch of slaves and that Jesus is wherever they think that he is supposedly?
Well, I care that they have so much control over our government when you have Jewish supremacy like that, where you think you're God's special chosen boys and everyone else is there to serve you as cattle.
So you don't actually care what they believe.
That's where they can believe that, but
Yeah, because I don't care what somebody believes.
Are put into action. Yeah, when those beliefs are put into actions, that's when it's dangerous, and that's what
But that's what
doing.
blacks claim about whites, because they claim that whites think that whites are better, and so that means that whites shouldn't be in power who think they're better. But the whites whites should be in power.
Well, blacks came up with the term white supremacy is because when whites went to Africa, they were living in the Stone Age. When whites showed up, they had, plumbing, electricity. They're able to get waters through pipes into their houses while they're carrying waters of buckets on their head. So, yeah, they saw whites.
Nothing wrong with the Stone Age.
They saw their advancement, and they said, man, these guys are superior. Like, they brought mirrors over there. And one of the kings saw the mirror and thought it was magic and sold like a bunch of slaves for a mirror. He started,
awesome.
They still live in the Stone Age. The ones that haven't had contact with Europeans or the Chinese.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, let them live in the Stone Age together. Like all the angry blacks that want to go back. Like I'll put my taxes. I'd rather put my taxes to send the blacks back to Africa than my taxes going to Israel. Bombing Palestinians and Iranians, but hey, you got that Gatekeeper shirt on. That's
nice, huh?
Quite a coincidence.
Law enforcement.
Yeah.
No, I did it on purpose. It wasn't a coincidence.
I know. I know. After my call yesterday, I bet you went straight to the rack and like, I haven't worn this in a while.
Yeah. One of the D-Live girls gave it to me, and she portrayed it as though. In a note that came with it, as though I'm like always fighting for the truth, gatekeeper, and law enforcement. But I don't know if maybe she was trolling me and thinks I am a gatekeeper in a negative way, because it's used in a negative way by a lot of you guys. Like I don't let the truth to get out, because I have this big old platform and I prevent the truth getting out.
It might be overused, but it does seem like now that we're in too deep and we're definitely going to war with Israel, now that that's happening, a lot of right-wingers, like right-wing media, it seems like a script went out, like they got to kind of act indifferent towards the whole thing. Opposed.
So do you think I had a script given to me?
You guys probably got the call, yeah.
And so you're really believing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. You really are in your imagination, man. You make up all kinds of things in your head.
Yeah, just like Crowder, those other right-wing grifters, they all got the call.
And now you're using the same grifter word, like a typical NPC.
No.
Yeah, you're brainwashed.
No, I'm far from NPC. The grifters are
no, you're totally NPC. You're falling right in line with how all of you people talk.
Because you know the truth, Hake. But
yeah, I know the truth is you're in your head.
No, you know the truth about the Jews, but you won't say it.
I don't have to tell any truth. I tell the plain truth about what the Jews are, and I'm quite transparent about
the Talmud,
Jewish people.
But you even brought the Talmud and how
I've never read the Talmud.
To Jesus.
And I don't care, and you don't care either. You just care about them being in power because you're caught up in your head about it.
We're letting the.
You don't even care about the war, right? You don't even actually care about the war.
Happen. No one wants the war.
They don't care. You don't care about any war. What effect does the war have on you?
At the end of the show, Greenwald sent in a super chat and said, "I don't want to die for Israel."
Is he in the military?
Like, why not? And then you're like, the greatest love a person can have is dying for a friend. When does Israel? When does Israel reciprocate that? Huh?
They don't have to. Yeah, you're a friend to them.
Let's just keep dying and giving them our money. So
you're not even really a Christian then?
Who?
You.
Why'd you say that?
Because you don't even believe in. You think that a friend has to be friendly to you, but you don't have to be a friend to them. You only love those who love you.
No, I believe in not being taken advantage of.
Do you love those who don't love you?
As a serpent, but gentle as a dove. It doesn't say be a gullible goy and let them bend you over every day.
Right, but you're gullible. Huh? You're gullible to your imagination.
No, I used to be
you're gullible to
Israel
Satan.
Guy. Like I used to be pro-Israel. I got kicked out of my
that doesn't mean that you're awake. Just because you used to believe, you used to be one way, doesn't mean that you're awake now.
Yeah, because when
it doesn't.
Some people have cognitive
Are you spiritually awake and alive?
Yeah.
And where's the evidence?
Are you?
Where's the evidence that you are
Is your spirit
spiritually
alive?
and answer my question. Where's the evidence that you are spiritually awake and alive with your accuser self?
What do you mean by that? What's the
Yeah, how do you know that you're awake and alive spiritually?
Spiritually.
Where is your love?
I love my family. I love people around me.
So then you're
I love everyone.
no different from everybody else. You're just a
I love everyone,
just like the Jews.
No.
Yeah, you're no different from the Jews.
He criticizes
Your fake love is no different from the Jews, Elijah.
It's the same as JLP. He criticizes the blacks, but he loves them. Same for me. I criticize the Jews because
you love the Jews?
To stop destroying the world.
You love the Jews?
And have everyone turn against them. Yeah, because the little J's are the ones.
Oh, so you want, but you don't love the Jews. You want something from the Jews.
No, I never said that.
Yeah, you want them to stop. You want them to stop,
Yeah.
right? Isn't that what you said?
Well, yeah,
Then you don't love
like
them.
war, Hake? I mean, I know you and Jesse probably won't have to serve, but so that doesn't affect you. But
You're not going to have to serve? Greenwald is not going to have to serve? I doubt it.
I'll probably have to serve, yeah.
Oh, you're going to have to serve?
Drafting? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because I'm a fit Chad, so I'm sure they're going to...
So you're going to go, huh?
I'm sure they're going to want me to be one of their super soldiers, yeah.
So are you trolling me, or are you just being silly?
No, I'm not trolling you. I'm a fit Chad.
So you're just being silly?
Serious. Oh, you got to be a little silly when you're talking about controversial topics, you know?
Oh, yeah, I mean, because you don't actually care. You're just caught up in this notion about war and drama.
Oh, yeah, I don't care. That's why I'm calling in. Yeah. To waste time. No.
It's totally wasting time.
You don't have to be condescending. Hey, all right.
I'm not condescending. I'm just saying you don't care. Nobody cares about this war.
So no one cares.
Right. It's just drama.
That's the call. That's the call they gave out, to be indifferent.
Why not
the call
be
went
indifferent?
Out. Shut it down. Huh?
You're being silly.
Well, all of a sudden, all these people with these big opinions.
I gotta go. Take care. Big Bump in California on the line here. Big Bump, go for it.
Hey, how's it going, Hake?
Going well. How about you, man?
Yeah, I'm doing well, man.
Right on.
Hey, well, first, all the Jew talk, the Muslim talk, what came to mind just now while I was listening is in the Lion King. You know, when the hyenas, they say Mufasa, when you say the Jews, that's how everybody shakes. It seems that way. Everybody's all in a tizzy all the time about the Jews, and then all in a tizzy about the Muslims.
Yeah,
like, that's just whatever.
It's a hot drama topic of fear, and anger, and pride.
Yeah, like you said.
Yeah.
All right. So the reason I did call was the Juneteenth thing, since my wife had asked me, she just mentioned, she said, I never really even heard of it like that, and I was like, yeah, you're right. So when I was younger in Florida, I would always go like during the summertime to these little camps, and it was always black theme. It was at a black college.
Yeah.
Black theme, Christian type stuff. They would do all the songs, but the one thing they never, ever even mentioned was Juneteenth. Kwanzaa they never mentioned, and Juneteenth they never mentioned. And so it's like more regionalized to me. That's how I see it. It's just that Houston, that Texas area, I guess. I don't know, but that was the point of me calling. Was I was in the South, but I never heard of Juneteenth until maybe teenage years. Maybe heard someone mention it, but I never, even with all that black indoctrination I went to,
right,
I never heard of Juneteenth.
That is funny, man. That's crazy. Yeah. So, I first heard of Juneteenth from this evil woman who was on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, Feminista Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw her on Black Twitter because, she was on JLP's show, and so I followed her on Twitter way back in the day when it was Twitter. And all those blacks who are just into the blackness bad. They're slaves of slavery, like you said.
Yeah, right.
That's why they're all into their Juneteenth stuff. It's a mass brainwashing thing.
It is.
It's no different from the tizzy that the Jew blamers and the Muslim, pro-Muslim people, or Muslim haters are in.
Yeah, everybody's getting their thrills. These today specifically,
Yep.
you know, the past weeks or so. Yeah, so.
Well, thank you, man. I got to wrap up. Big Bump,
Yeah.
take care, man.
You as well, man.
We'll catch you again.
Yeah.
Bye. And the rest of the callers, Harmony from California, wanted to say have a good weekend. And the rest, everybody, I got to get out of here. Peace in the Middle East. Or at least in your hearts, if you really pursue it. Most of you won't. Like GOP said, take care. Bye.
Oh, sorry.